that the president has been posting numerous messages on Facebook and Twitter about his trip to Abu Dhabi. But amid the controversy, many of the real issues with this security challenge appear to have been lost in the noise. Well, KTN senior reporter Asha Mwilu has been taking some rather specific notes for the president and now has this welcome home message for him.
Hello, Mr. President. First, it's appropriate to welcome you back home. It is the African thing to do. We've been agonizing over how to reach you when you return. First, I thought of writing a letter. Then I remembered that you run a digital government. So, I turned to Twitter. After all, you've been quite active on that platform. But then, what I have to say won't be done in 140 characters. It's a lot, Mr. President. So I'll perhaps do an email, or better yet, let me post it on your Facebook page. We saw those images online on the great time you had at the Formula 1 event. I'm sure famous sporting events like the Grand Prix can be quite engrossing.
There is the policy.
I noticed you got a brief of what happened while you were away. So you must know the basics by now. The Al-Shabaab came back. This time we lost 28 Kenyans. And just like the other attacks, it was horrible. But I took down some specific notes for you. In fact, I don't even want you to take my word for it. This man had a first-hand experience of the entire attack. And even though he survived, he was unable to save his fellow Kenyans. And guess what? His hometown is still unsafe. So I have to make sure that he's not the next target.
Sasa tuliambia nyinyi wengine wote mrudi kwa gari, nyinyi mwendene mbele ya gari huko. Walalishwa chini. Ndio sasa zikaanzika. Vile walimaliza sasa akasema mnaweza shuka mchimbieni gari yenu mtoeni hapa gari yenu.
How I wish you were here, Mr. President, when this lady from Elgeyo Marakwet received news of her son's brutal death in Mandera. Maybe your words would have reassured her? You see, Mr. President, I've been doing the math. We all have. This year alone, 147 Kenyans have been killed by our enemies from Somalia. I covered the Westgate siege, and I still remember this gallant promise you made.
Our head is bloodied, but unbowed. The criminals found us unafraid, as we shall ever be. We cannot be conquered.
These terrorists don't seem to have taken heed, sir. Mr. President, do you remember the 60 people who died in Mpeketoni in June? Or the 21 officers killed in Kapedo last month? Not to mention the victims of the many grenade attacks that hit Nairobi earlier in the year. Some people think the people you hired to take care of our security should go home, Mr. President. In fact, Mr. President, the experts think you need to do more, a lot more.
We need to come up with our own national security strategy. That is very important.
But I can't tell you what to do, Mr. President. I'm no expert. What I can do is remind you what you told me earlier this year.
Ulinzi unaanza na mimi. Ulinzi unaanza na wewe.
Yes, and this vehicle you ride in these days is perhaps a good start, Mr. President. Only, we may need 40 million of them for all of us. After all, we are in this together, are we not? Asha Mwilu, KTN.
A very passionate letter to the president on this security issue, and I'm sure that these are some of the sentiments just being coming out of this security situation in this country. And this is what is coming out in most of the tweets and SMSs that we are getting. Let me read this one from I Romana, who says, Really? I pay taxes to protect myself? I don't think so, Mr. President.
Now, that's a sentiment that's being echoed quite a lot. Mike Easy on Twitter says, your watchman tells you that security is your responsibility. You tell him that's why you employed him. Why did we elect Uhuru? And F. Mogiri says, so the 3-year-old child, talking about the child that was molested, should have called cops? Should she have run away, scream, or what should she have done to protect herself? And he goes ahead to say #victim blaming.